are now listening to.
You're now listening to.
You are now listening to the Breaking Dads podcast. Enjoy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Breaking Dad podcast. I am your host. My name is Woody, and this is episode 4 of the Breaking Dads podcast. And this one's going to be a little bit different because I got myself my very first guest on the show. It's my homeboy Mason. Say what's up to the people, man.
No, you're supposed to do the thing where it's Woody and Breaking Dad's podcast. This is episode 4, Quattro, like that's the thing I'm used to.
Okay, my bad. I'll do it over. All right. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Breaking Dad podcast. I'm your host. My name is Woody, and this is episode 4, Quattro, Cat. For all my Haitians out there of the Breaking Dad podcast, welcome. And on this episode, I have my very first guest. It's my homeboy Mason. Say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, people? How y'all doing?
All right.
Very happy to be on the show.
Yes, sir. I've been trying this for a couple weeks. I'm happy we finally was able to get the timing together. You're actually right now on your way to work, so I appreciate you, pulling the time. People's commutes is there. It's sacred sometimes, so I appreciate.
And trust me, I'm driving safe. I got my headphones in. I'm not texting and driving. I'm not holding the phone up to my ear. It's just a PSA. I just want to let everybody know, don't talk on the phone while you're driving.
Please don't. I actually have a crazy story about somebody who was texting and driving in a car accident I got into back in Jersey, but I'm going to save that for another day. Yeah, I think you know about that, man.
I know about a lot of things.
Okay, but just to give a little backstory, me and Mason been homeboys for I don't even know. We don't count the years. We go way back, and
at least a decade.
I want to say at least a decade, easily, because we graduated from high school a decade ago. Jesus, we sound old. Yeah, damn near. So yeah, that's my homeboy right here. He has a lot of interesting takes. I appreciate his opinion and his point of view a lot. So that's why I thought it would be really great to get him on the show. If you guys have heard his voice before, then that's because you guys were OG listeners to pre-revamped Breaking Dad's podcast. He was on quite a few episodes. He had his own segment and everything. But I just want to definitely make sure he got back on this new revamped version of the podcast. So he's also a Breaking Dad himself. You want to go ahead, intro yourself. I'm over here.
Let me do my elevator speech real quick. I am Broken Dad, Kenny Mason. You can call me MazinWorldPeace. Look me up on social media. Like what he said, I've known him for years, and we go back. And it's oddly enough, we started our journeys as fathers, probably within a couple of months of each other. And, a couple of days.
I'm going to say, bro, it's 10 days, dog.
No, but, I didn't know you were having a baby. And then I was like, hey, I'm having a baby. You were like, oh, I'm having a baby. And I was like, oh, crap, we're both having babies.
True that.
But yeah, I got a little 3-year-old. She'll be 4 in January, but she's 24 every other day. If you've ever seen her, she's a local celebrity. She has her own podcast. It's called Lady Nation. It's going to be coming out very soon.
Listen, he's not joking. She absolutely does. I'm a subscriber, and I love every single episode, man. This child has tons of personality. She's an amazing kid. Her biggest fan is Uncle Woody. Uncle Woody's her biggest fan, easily.
I think Aunt Jen might be a bigger fan.
That is true. She calls her spirit animal, so I think you're right. But that's perfect segue right there. That you brought up Jen, because just the other day, this week, Jen and I, actually sooner than that, Jen won a contest at a wedding expo that she went to with our wedding planner, and she won a tour. It was like a tour of a resort, and they were going to like a demo, and they were going to give us a free night stay the night that we did the demo. We're going to get a free night stay at the resort, which we didn't take, but they had the free night at the resort. They also had a trip, and like 2 trips, and just a bunch of these crazy deals. And I think it was like a Visa card for like $200 or something like that. Was all yours. Yeah, either that or you could have got an iPad instead. It was all up to what you wanted. And it was just sounded too good to be true. So we did the call anyway. She won. Went ahead, did the call, and they set it all up, and we went down there. It's I don't know if I want. Should I say where it was at?
I mean, if you want to give them free publicity.
All right, whatever. It was called. Crap. Now I'm blanking on the name. No, what was it called? Oh shoot, what was it called? Massanutten Resort.
Wait, what?
Yes, I know. I heard it too.
Oh my God, I'm very immature.
In the spelling, listen, it was the same way for me. In the spelling, I was like, what is this? And then when the tour guide, nice guy named Malcolm, when the tour guide said Massa's Nuttin', I said, what? He said, yeah, we hear it a lot. I was like, okay, Massa Nuttin', whatever, we're here. But it was beautiful.
Why he take Abigail in the house today?
Cause no, I'm not doing. I can't do it.
It's okay. We'll fill in I'll comment on it later.
But anyway, it was a beautiful place. It was about a 4-hour drive up to Virginia, and it was. I knocked out in the car. I was asleep most of the time. But when we got there, it was a beautiful place. It's in the mountains. It's actually like in a cradle. I think that's part of the name or whatever. It's cradled. Like it's literally, it looks like a volcano. It looks like the resort is inside of a volcano. Like it's crazy. It's absolute beautiful place. 4-season resort. They have snowboarding, all that stuff. They have a indoor outdoor pool, damn near water park. It was amazing. So we did the tour. It was absolutely phenomenal. They had restaurants, all that. And when we got to the end, we find out this is the whole timeshare thing. Like a dummy, I'm thinking it's just, the resort trying to get some people in. Apparently, this place is already a big deal.
Yeah.
But it was a timeshare thing, which I had no idea. Had you have any experiences with timeshares before?
No, I haven't, but I know when Massa Nut and everybody else is happy.
Oh, okay. Oh, you had to get that off, didn't you?
I think I got like 2 more. I'm gonna save them for later.
All right, appreciate that. But anyway,
and then also we need to have. I need to come back on the show to talk about you and car rides.
Me and car rides, I'm terrible.
I think that's 100% necessary. I don't want to go into it.
Yeah,
but it's 100% necessary to talk about you as a passenger in the car.
Hey, well, just know just keep the same energy when it's time for my bachelor party, because it's gonna be the same thing. We have to. It has to be a road trip. Like, there's no way. I don't think I'm just gonna fly in. But
no, we definitely have to have a road trip. When Massa Nuttin' on the honeymoon, it'll be great.
Oh my God! I should have I don't have my soundboard up. I should have my soundboard up for that one, man.
It's like T-Ball at this point.
But to get back to the story, we get this I don't know. They sit us down after we go through this whole thing. They took us all the way up to the top of the mountain. Unfortunately, it had just rained. So the clouds were you look straight and there's a cloud directly in front of you. I felt like I could reach out and touch a cloud. That's how high up we were. So wow. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's cradled within a mountain, but then there's a top point of it where you could look down at everything. And we were up there and my ears are popping and everything. It was crazy. So after we do this whole tour, and like I said, the guy Malcolm was really nice and everything. And I got to the point.
Shout out to Malcolm.
Yeah, shout out to Malcolm. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I think I'll actually even consider, I'll have an open mind to actually paying for this. You know what I'm saying? I was just if the numbers are right, I might actually do this. Because I was as we're doing the tour, I'm like, man, I could imagine the kids doing this and the kids doing that and me doing, I want to snowboard. I've never snowboarded before. I was like, I would love to snowboard here. I was sold. They showed us the units and everything, what we would be purchasing and everything. And I was just like, yeah, I would actually do this. Man, when we sat down, when we got back and they sat us down and talked the numbers almost completely made sense, dog. But once again, it sounded too good to be true. So I asked them, I say, hey man, we spent the day with you. Keep it 100 with me, keep it all the way 100 with me. And I remember Smitty, when he lived out here, he was working sales and he, would tell us about what it was like doing sales and how you got a closer and all this other stuff. So I kept it G with him. I was like, listen, man, my brother worked in sales. I know, how this works. And I understand that you need to get your money. You earned every dime you made today, dog. So I have no problem understanding that we're not going to get like an amazing steal, but I understand that you need to make some money too. So I'm okay with making sure this, and Malcolm's a black guy too, so I kept it all the way 100 with it. I was like, I have no problem with,
obviously.
yeah, well, you never know. Like, I think there was a kid drafted in the NBA, his name was Dante, and he was white. His name is Dante DiVincenzo or something like that. So going by Dante, you're going to think that's... Exactly. So anyway, Malcolm, like I told him, I said, listen, especially to make sure a brother gets his money after working as well as he did today, I have no problem with that. So he kept it all the way 100 with us. And we have our first guest today. We're second and third. Say hi. Hi, Callie. Hi, Maya. You want to say hi to Uncle Mason? You want to say hi?
Wow.
Hi, say hi.
Hi. Whoa, what's a desk?
Yeah? I'm recording.
That's a recording.
Yeah, Daddy's recording.
I know recording. That's a recording.
Since when do you love recording?
Whoa. Recording? These are all Saturday.
Yeah, you gonna sing? Go ahead. Go ahead, sing. Go ahead, sing Itsy Bitsy Spider. Go ahead. No? Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Go ahead. No, now she's shy. Okay.
Every head with the toes.
Yeah, Callie, you want to
Yeah.
sing head, shoulder. Go ahead.
But don't hide with the toes.
They're both getting shy. Oh, man.
Listen, I don't know what kind of establishment you're running, but if the talent doesn't want to cooperate, I don't want to cooperate.
Okay, go ahead, sing. Go ahead, sing Itsy Bitsy Spider then. But you want to get in front of the mic, but you just don't want to say nothing? All right, go ahead.
I miss those kids.
Yeah, man, they're a trip. They're a trip. No, nothing? All right, say bye-bye. Say oh.
Say bye-bye.
Yeah, say bye-bye. See you later. All right, you can stay here, baby. So anyway, as I was saying, the guy did a great, phenomenal job. And when we sat down... Yes, baby. All right, I have to be right back. Mason, go ahead, man.
So Malcolm did a phenomenal job in showing us the timeshare. And I was keeping it G with him. And I'm like, Malcolm, I know you got to make your money. But my brother Smith worked in sales. And I just really need to know, what do I got to do to get you a pretty penny? Because to be honest, I don't know if we're going to go ahead and buy this timeshare. And he's like, well, he didn't finish the story until that point.
I'm back at this. Yeah, I'm back now. All right, thank you. But yeah, so to get back to it, when they sit us down and they're like talking to us, the vibe kind of just changed. Yes, he was talking numbers, and that was fine. And like I said, the numbers just about made sense. And when he bought in his closer, and the guy, which on this podcast, I don't know if you know, I don't divulge where I work. So, but when the guy heard about where I work because it was on part of the paperwork, he tried to use that to his advantage, which pissed me off. And then he kind of was just uberly aggressive, and I understand.
You don't want to tell people you're a stripper?
Thank you very much for letting everyone know what I do now. But anyway, I was trying to keep that separate, but cat's out of the bag now. But anyway, so this guy tries to use it to his advantage, and he's like just being like super like aggressive, and even like borderline like, I don't know how to say, like, I don't want to say full on derogatory. Like, he pissed Jen off. Like, we were explaining to him when he did try to give us the first offers, which for all y'all out there, you never take the first offer.
Never take the first offer.
Yeah, he was just, so we tried to leverage the wedding, which was the best part of it, was that there's some reality in it. The girls are about to go to preschool, and we're about to, we're saving up for this wedding, and I'm still paying off that engagement ring. So I was being real with him. Like, listen, man, I don't have that much money to spare. I am interested. I truly am. I know you guys get a bunch of people that, just come in for, the gifts, but I am actually really interested in this because it was a great opportunity. And he was just like, he like disrespected the wedding. He was basically saying, this a wedding. It's just one day, but you do this timeshare, this is something that once you pay it off, you have it forever. You get the deed and yada, yada, to heck with the wedding.
Yeah, he done messed up. See, I was in sales too, and I'd have flipped it. I'd have been like, yo, we got a venue here that's perfect for the wedding. We'll toss it into the cost of the timeshare.
some
You guys can have your wedding here.
something, or like, hey, this will be a great honeymoon spot, and I understand that you guys want to save it for the wedding, but that moment afterwards would be even, being able to have that time together here in this beautiful mountain data, something. But this guy would, piss Jen off, so I was already on the fence, but once he said that, it knocked me off the fence, and Jen was way off the reservation at that point. So we shut it down. We didn't even end up buying. I felt bad for Malcolm. But the dude stormed off. So then after that, we got to go to the exit interview or whatever, where they basically ask you how the tour guide did and how everything went for you. Man, I'm not a reviewer. I've never been on Yelp and left a review, but boy, did I give this guy a -8 stars.
Well, I mean, it happens, especially in the beginning, everything's all night, and it's beautiful, and you're touching clouds, and as soon as you're done with Master Nut, it just gets irrational and aggressive, and it's just like, oh
God.
I'm in the mood for it anymore.
Always a different person after Master Nutting. But anyway,
Exactly.
This guy, we just basically told him, and it was about the 4th, 5th time. He kept it real with us. Because once again, he leveraged my job, and he was just like, well, I'm gonna keep it real with you. This is about the 4th or 5th time. We've already had to correct him. We're going to his manager next, because he's not like someone that is my subordinate, but he was like, I'm gonna have to go to his manager now, because I already tried to set him straight that he's running people out of here left and right. So yeah, the guy was Mike. Mike's a dick. I hope he ever stumbles across this, and I hope I'm ever in Virginia, because we might shoot the fair one, honestly. But back to
that's fair.
yeah, he complete douchebag, and Malcolm probably should have slapped him too, because he messed up Malcolm's money that day too. But even that guy, he tried to give us a final number, and the number was absolutely phenomenal. It was like $94 a month. But it was just like the interest rate and stuff like that. And that's what I say all this to say, I really felt like a grown up that time.
and I'm sitting here feeling like a grown up too. I'm like, yo, $94 a month. I don't went in half with you guys.
It's crazy. It was great. And it was if we were to do that, right? Think about this. If $94 a month, right? We would be able to split that, and then they had a catalog full of places that you can go. So you didn't just have to go to Virginia. They have shares, sisters and places that they work with, that if you wanted to go to Jamaica, they had tons of hotels in Jamaica. They had tons of them, Italy, all these other places. So it was phenomenal, but the money just didn't. And I know for some people, sorry, you ballers.
It's not even the money, it's the timing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. For you ballers, you're probably thinking $94. Oh, I ain't got no money. It's just the timing of everything. And did I have the $94? Absolutely had the $94. But it's the timing of it. Let one thing go wrong, and then I'm like, damn, but I'm locked into this timeshare.
Exactly, and you contractually obligated to pay. I mean, don't let these ballers fool you when they're not opening bags of money at Cheeks. I'm pretty sure they're sweeping their mom's basement.
Exactly. But I say all that to say, that's just not how I operate with my funds. And it really opened my eyes. As we're in the car going back after we got, our money, and after we got, the vacation and everything. So we ended up we got everything we were promised. So we got the money on the Visa card. We got the night stay there at Massanutten, and then we got 2 vacations anywhere else we want to go. So we got, we got to stay there, and 2 trips to one of their things in the catalog, and we got the gift card. So as we're in the car, after we got everything, we're in the car, and I'm just sitting there thinking that really made me feel like an adult. That was wild. That was one of the things. I raised these kids every single day. That didn't make me feel as much as an adult as getting pitched a timeshare and have.
Yeah, man. The funny thing about that, not to cut you off.
Nah, go ahead. Go.
Raising kids it's fun. I personally have fun raising a kid. It gives you a chance to be a kid again.
Yeah.
But we were talking before we started recording, I filled up my gas tank. These are adult things that you just take solace in. Oh man, I filled up my gas tank. I got pitched a timeshare. I only put 2 of my bills on payment arrangements. I'm good. I mean,
it's those little. It's these little. It sounds little, but it's really major to have those things. To be able to put bills on auto pay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that felt phenomenal. You know, I'm like,
hold on now, buddy. Hold on now.
Don't get me wrong. There's some of them that I would never dare put on auto pay, but like some of them, like it's just like to know that that's on auto pay. That's good. I don't gotta worry about that. You know.
I'm gonna need you to calm the fuck down. Wait, can I curse?
Yes, you can curse. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to calm the fuck down right now.
It's all good. Go ahead. Let them all fly. We already got the E rating on iTunes. Shout out to iTunes for giving us that explicit rating.
Woo! Fuck shit, damn bitch ass.
Anything else? But anyway, so yeah, it was just, I don't know. I think all in all, like that trip was a real eye opener, and like you said, it's all about timing. Like I just got so much going on, and I always like to keep like what is the saying? Ace up my sleeve. Is that the right saying?
Yeah, that's racist.
Yeah, so I like to make sure like I have an ace up my sleeve. I know everyone finance is different, and just like parenting, finances is a touchy subject for people. Don't too many people want people to give them too much advice, but I will always, that's just the always way I rock, is that I'll always keep an ace up my sleeve just in case something happens. Some people like to live on the edge and say, oh, you only live once and experiences this and that. Nah, man, I like to have a cushion. So
you know the crazy part about that? You only live once, but credit is forever.
Forever.
Because they will come for our kids with whatever we owe.
True. What's the joke that Chris Rock had in that movie Down to Earth? A white man die, leave a will. Brother die, leaves a bill. Yeah. Like that was it. The funny thing, the joke on that was that he was inside of a white man's body, so he was giving all his black jokes as a comedian, as an old white man.
It wasn't actually a joke. It was more of a floor warning.
It was a floor. See, that's him and Dave Chappelle were two of the people who like gave forewarnings in their comedy, and then like it was funny then, but then you grow up and it makes it so much funnier.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute, he's right.
Like, no lie, like I checked my credit score the other day and I did like a backflip. Like, damn.
Isn't that adulting hard as hell? Like, I remember when I was a kid, not even a kid, a teenager, like, yo, you know, did I get this friend request on MySpace or who's in my top 8? Now I'm like, yeah, but is my credit score in the top percentile? Like, that's more important than anything.
The most important thing is that damn credit score. And I did a little dance. Me and Jen celebrated my credit being what it was. But no lie. I think I said a joke to Jen the other day. I said, yeah, the credit completely a joke. I joke like this with my fiance. Like we were friends long before we were ever together. So we could joke like this. But I told her, I was like, yeah. I was like, easily the sexiest thing about you is your credit score. Yes. And
that's real.
I mean, it's real, but it was also
I want you to log in credit card before we start dating.
Is that a criteria for you?
A little bit. I mean, now it is.
Hey, let's dive into that. I kind of didn't want to go this way with it, but
Oh my God.
we're gonna dive just a little. I don't know. I think this is interesting because honestly, episode 1, I did say that I wanted to get some stories out of there, and I'm not gonna get in your business. So you don't got to put your business out, and anything you don't want to share, you don't have to share. But like we're fathers in 2 different aspects of this parenthood. I'm in a relationship. I am about to get married. You're single.
Yeah.
So you're super single, ladies. Just to let you know, his link will be in the description. Don't worry. And
what's up, Munch?
Oh Lord, no, you didn't. Oh man, this guy.
I see them gains, Munch.
He's so stupid, man.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Oh
You know
man, oh you are a fool, man. All this around food between Munch and noodles. I don't know what's up with you, man.
Sometimes you gotta munch a noodle.
Oh, I'm sorry. These are inside jokes. Inside jokes are terrible for a podcast because nobody knows what we're talking about. But it's like
they do. I'm telling you, when Master Nothing.
Oh no.
That was the last one. I think that was.
Oh man. But anyway, to get back to what we were, I was going with it. Oh man. I'm going to have to get that. Were you able to hear that?
No.
Okay, maybe it came across the speaker, so sorry guys, that was my alarm going off. Anyway, as I was saying, we're fathering on different spectrums. I'm about to get married. You're single. So for me, it was a little bit different, the transition between, you know, being a father of these children by myself with no, and like without a girlfriend or anything like that. I hate the word. I don't like the term single father, but I guess I can say single father.
I'm a free agent father.
Okay, free. I could rock with that. So yeah, it was like a little bit less of a turnaround for me being a free agent father. So for you, it being as long as it's been, I understand that may make dating and everything a little bit harder, right?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I do have like certain criteria that I look for. You gotta like kids, but it's not. I mean, in reality, nobody really meets my daughter that I've dated because nobody's gotten to that point. But I still need to know that if the time were to come, and you met her, that you would, try to make that effort to get along with her. Especially because I'm from a single mom, a free agent mom, who has a stepfather, and he made every effort to, get along with me when we finally met. And I think that's a big thing. And then also, of keeping it 100% honest with you, if my daughter don't like you, it's kind of a wrap.
That's real. That's really real. I think the relationship between Jen and Callie and Amaya was super important. And I think at the age they met her, they don't know anything but her. So it was a little bit smoother of a transition, but it would have made it really hard if, let's say, they grew as they've been growing up. There was friction between them where they didn't, like, or if they didn't like her, they love her to death. So I mean, I think that's honestly is huge. So I would say for you, well, I would ask, like, so seeing as though no one's made it to that point, like, how do you feel? I guess in reverse, how did that change your perception of single mothers? Because I knew we, growing up, we had a couple of girls that had babies early, but especially now that we're, at the age we're at now, how do you feel on the flip side?
I mean, I've never had a problem with single mothers, especially, given my background. And I think single mothers are more appealing than women who don't have children, only because they understand. Like, say, for instance, I'm talking to a single mom. She lets me know right up front, like, hey, you'll always be number 2 or number 3 man behind either my son or my father. Or, like, you'll always take a back seat to my kid. And it's the same way, like, if it comes down to me spending time with my daughter or me spending time with you, I suggest you find something else to do.
I think that's real. And I think that's especially really important for us guys with daughters. Like, with sons, I don't know how it is with a son because I don't have one. I think that's more of a question for Smith or someone else. But the father-daughter relationship is so crucial. And it's just, I feel like that's one of the, it should be I don't mean to say it should be treasured, don't get me wrong, but it should be treated with extreme care and caution, because they're watching you. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter their age, they're watching you. And the way that you move and the way that you interact or the things that you do with them, I feel like it shapes and molds how they will in turn deal with men. I mean,
whether it be consciously or subconsciously, whatever memories you kind of instill in them will be things that they either look for if they were good or avoid if they were bad.
Yeah, and I think even that the negative way I feel like is more damaging. Rather than say, oh, I don't want to be this way or I don't want him to be like my dad. No, you should be like, hey, I want him to be like my dad. I think it should be in a positive way. Anyway. Exactly. So I feel like, and we're not mansplaining here because we're not women, but I had 5 older sisters, and it's the outlook from as a father is that you want to be, and it's crazy because I was just having this conversation with my mom, and I think this is going to segue us a little bit out of the the hot water into too much into your business. I had this conversation with my mother. Well, I had this conversation with my mother just today, and I felt like the relationship that I had with my father, which is for a separate episode, the relationship I have with my father, I feel like a lot of me and my sisters are at that point now that we all have kids, is we're trying, like, I feel like some of them, and I'm pretty sure none of them will listen to this, but some of them are trying to parent in spite of him. You know what I'm trying to say? Instead of like the lessons we learned from my dad, or my dad this, like, no, I want to be a better parent than my dad. Well, my dad was like this, so I'm not going to be like that. Whereas, like you said, for some people, they want to say, oh, well, the good and the bad of what my dad did, or the bad of what my dad did, here's what it is, so this is what I'm going to avoid. Whereas I feel like what it's doing is we don't want to be like our dad, so we're doing the exact opposite of him. And whereas my dad may have been too hard, I feel like to try and be like that, I don't want to be nothing like him. There is no hardness. Now everyone's just being, not everyone, but in aspects, people are being too soft with their kids. Mm-hmm. And not calling anybody out by name or anyone in particular, but I just feel like that's something that we all struggle with now, is like sometimes being too lenient. Now, I know sometimes I feel like I'm being too lenient on the girls because I don't want to be hard on them like my dad was. And that's a balance that I'm trying to find.
Yeah, and it's hard because you don't want to be a pushover, but you don't want to be super strict. But like, we got young kids, so it's a time and a place for everything. For sure. But it's like and no offense to anybody listening, but like the preacher's daughter aspect. They say those are the strictest fathers, and sometimes those are the girls who have the a little bit more leniency with their morals.
You don't have to PC it, man. Go ahead, let it fly. I think it's a stereotype. It's not.
Them hoes be loose.
It's a stereotype, and it's not our stereotype. So I mean, it just is what it is. You don't have to preference it by saying that. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. So it's like it's that balance that we have to find, and I feel like it's never too early. Like, yes, we're sitting here with 3-year-olds, but I don't see why you don't have to think about this is another human being's life, a life that you brought in this world. So if you can't be like, let's say, a bit not obsessive, but if you can't be foreseeing with it, then what the hell are you doing about it? Like some people say like, oh, I need to chill out. They're only 3. Let them be babies. Like, I understand. Yes, let them be babies, but there's no practicing this parenting thing. You know what I'm saying? So if at 3, I can sit here and start to instill within me that I have to be a certain way with these girls.
Exactly. Why? And then you can start to prep to be that way. To prep myself. Because I'm the one that really needs, like, you know what I'm saying? I could use a practice run. They don't, exactly.
They don't.
And these are the practice years when they're young and nothing really matters.
Exactly. Like, as long as they're healthy and they're having fun, which they are, which kind of goes back to the whole vacation thing, is I really wanted to do that damn thing, like, for them, like more than for myself. Like, yeah, I mentioned, like, yes, I don't want to mention anything like that. But I don't know. It's just really, really rough. But I know that you're getting close to the end of your commute. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I want to thank you very, very much for coming on and doing this segment with me.
Yeah, I feel like we got to do more. I'm going to call you back when I get some time, and we'll do another one.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll get up, and I think the people are going to enjoy this part so far. So this is just a little teaser of what we'll do. He'll be on later on. Do you want to give them your social media? I know you kind of did at the beginning, but
yeah, it's MazinWorldPeace. That's all you need to know. Just follow me on everything, everywhere.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
All right, buddy.
All right, so everybody, that was my boy Mason. Appreciate him coming on. Good guest. We'll be returning. It's a friend of the show, some will say. But it was a pretty good conversation that we had. We didn't get to go everywhere we wanted to, but that's the way it is sometimes with us. We just get the rambling and get the joking, and it's hard for us to stay on subject sometimes. But like I said, he always has a very good, interesting perspective, and he's a fellow dad, and we've kind of been on this journey together, me, him, and Smith. So it's always really, really good to get him on. To move on, or to kind of get where I was starting to go with the whole thing is with the whole, and I know I've been on this timeshare thing for a while, but I just think it's really important, or it was really interesting for me in that moment to really think about everything I was thinking about, because it was one of those times where as a parent you don't really think of yourself anymore. where you take yourself out of, oh, I would love to be able to go here and go. And now, don't get me wrong, that was part of it. But part of the excitement for me was I would love for them to see something other than the United States. And yes, it may not have been soon. They're only 3 years old. But I would love for them to have a passport and use it. And I think it's a little bit different for me because my family comes from another country. So going outside of the country wasn't as different, or wasn't as, I don't want to say it wasn't as special, because it was still always special to go to Haiti. And I never got the opportunity until I was in my teens. But for me to, in that moment, be so fixated, and as parents we do it, but in that moment be so fixated on, I would love for them to each have their own passports and be able to have these different stamps and have this, and me be the one that had provided this opportunity. And the way that we're saying it was, it's a deed, it's ours, we keep it, for as long as they're in business. But places like that don't go out of business. But to own something, and ownership is huge, especially in the Black community, I feel, in every community, honestly, but especially in the Black community, Haitian community, all the communities, to own something and be able to pass it down to your children, for it to be, on my will. And I know this is thinking way ahead and a little gravely, but in my will, for it to be that my children are going to split this property that I own. This deed that I own is going to go between you two, and you two share this timeshare. It's just a timeshare, but it don't matter because it's something that you own. And to be able to, in that moment, be like, this is what it's about. I felt similarly when I did life insurance, It's like, this is about them and putting them forward, giving them a leg up, any advantage that you can give them. Once again, for my white listeners, and this just is what it is. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. That's part of what y'all listen for. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. For there to be any advantage or any leg up you can give them to close the gap, it's just amazing. That's what they're going to be. 2 little Black girls, they're 2 little Haitian girls in my eyes, but in the eyes of everyone else, before they get to know them, they're 2 little Black girls. And so to give them anything, that gives them that leg up, because they're, to me, to everyone else, to hopefully me doing my job right to them, they're going to know what they truly are, which are queens. They're, especially with their brilliance that they have, their infectious personalities, and everything encompassing them. Hopefully that shines and gets them where they need to be, on top of their hard work that they're going to put in, that I'm going to instill in, that work ethic that I'm going to instill in them, that my mother instilled in me, and that my grandmother instilled, and my father, and so on and so on. But I'm going to make sure that they know and they understand that they don't need this leg up because of anything besides the way society is set up. They're not inferior. They're not inferior whatsoever to anyone. But what they need the leg up for, to close the gap that was created unjustly, unfairly. I'm not going to pretend like there is no gap. And I feel like as parents, we shouldn't pretend like there is no gap. I understand that the world is changing and it's not the same as what it used to be. It's just it's different for sure. But one thing that's not different is that there is a gap, and there is, and things are getting better. Don't get me wrong. In some aspects, things are getting better, but there is a gap. It's not fair and it's not right that there is a gap, but there is one. So I would never want to breed or raise laziness. Oh, well, it's not like that anymore. That's back in the days. So I could just coast. Like, no, you're going to have to work hard and work twice as hard and be twice as good. Whether you're already better, you got to be that much better. Just because of the way things are unfairly are. But I'm sorry, I got off on a little tangent, got a little passionate there about all that. But That's just, is what it is. And in that moment, to be able to give them those experiences and be able to think like, yes, my children are going to be able to see the world and see these other things and experience things other than, North Carolina is amazing. I know some women in their 20s never been outside of the country. I know some women in their 20s never been outside the state. Either state of New Jersey or state, going out of state just now in their 20s. Or, when we were younger and when I was in my early 20s before I had children, knowing and meeting some people, some coworkers or people I met, at work, customers when I used to work at the go-kart place. We sit there and talk to people. Some people said they've never been outside the state before. Or they're like, oh, where are you from? And I'll be like, I'm from Jersey. Oh, I've never been anywhere but North Carolina. Oh, where are you from? I'm from Haiti. Oh, I've never been outside the country. I've never been to the Caribbean. In my 20s. So to be able in that moment to be able to do something like that was great. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out timing wise. But that is not going to deter or stop me from traveling with these children. Period. Like it's going to happen. But that was just a great opportunity. They gave it an amazing number, but like I said, it just timing was wrong, and then that salesman really turned us off to the whole thing, or the closer or whatever he was. Tell what you might. I hope you stubbed your toe this morning. But to get off that, wow, I really went off on this. We're already at the 40-minute mark. Really went off on that. I just want to thank Mason once again for coming on. Honestly, we're gonna have him back on. We have a very interesting back and forth we've already been having about the music I've been talking to you guys about. Last week I spoke on, I think Nas's album had just dropped. I had listened to it that morning, and I'll give a refresher on this. Pusha T's album I no longer listen to. Is the music good? Yes. I just it just doesn't come across in the rotation anymore. So I don't know how that album has aged because I haven't listened to it. And I think that's maybe part of it, of the poor aging. We had, followed by that, I still haven't listened to Kanye's or him and Kid Cudi's album. So I've been keeping that same energy, and no pun intended, that is the name of Tiana's album, Tiana Taylor's. And I remember saying that was the one I was most interested in. So that was that. So it came out. It was supposed to come out Friday. It did not. I kept refreshing, kept looking, could not find it. Was very upset. So it did come out Saturday. I wasn't on social media as much, and I believe I worked that weekend, so I was part of it. So yeah. So I was refreshing, couldn't find it. Saturday it comes out. I listened to it. It's 8 songs long. This one was eight songs long. It was different than the others. Hold on, I'm gonna unplug and plug into my phone real quick. Hopefully iTunes does not take me down. 8 songs long, and the name of the album's Keeping the Same Energy, KTSE. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it on the first listen. And once again, it's 23 minutes long, so there was a couple of really short songs that did disappoint me. Some of these songs should have had a second verse, and I feel like it would have been a smash. This is a really good album. So I'm going to go through my first listening experience, and then I'm going to go on to what I later learned. Because I like to go into these albums in the dark. Let me go ahead. I'm losing my train of thought right now. So listen to it first listen through. Really enjoyed it. No Manners was good. Gonna Leave Me was good. Enjoyed Issues. Now I got to Hurry. I was really iffy because, once again, I saw it was featuring Kanye West, and once again, not being funny, I had to keep the same energy. Every other album that I listened to, the Nas album and the Pusha album, had Kanye verses on it, and I listened to them. So I went ahead and I didn't skip it. I listened to it. I want to say it starts off with a Kanye verse, or Kanye's What You Hear First, but that beat was phenomenal. It was a great beat. I enjoyed it very much. And I didn't like Kanye's verse. I didn't like it. I want to say I haven't liked any of the verses on the 3 projects that I've heard. So maybe he's done better on his own and Cudi's, and these were what he had left, or whatever it might be. But I have not enjoyed the 3 Kanye verses I've heard this summer across these 3 projects. Three-Way was very entertaining. It did not have Ty Dolla $ign credited on it, so I did not know he was on it. And as I'm listening, it was a very pleasant surprise to hear Ty Dolla $ign on this record. And for a lot of people, the standout record of this project was Rose in Harlem. Once again, another very, very good beat by Kanye West. And Teyana definitely delivered on this song. And I loved it. It was really, really good. This was really good R&B. Those 2 songs back to back were very, very, and this is what I was looking for. I was looking for very good quality R&B. So the following song never would have made it. I saw the title and I thought of the gospel song, Never Would Have Made It. No, I can't sing, sorry. But that's what I thought of initially. And lo and behold, that is, where she went on the hook. The song, it was beautiful. This was a really, really good song. And it just kept the momentum going. So I want to say it may have been 1 or 2 songs that I didn't really care for on this album. And the one I really can't stand is the last one. It's not for me. I don't. WTP. No, I don't. Nope. No. No. Hell no. I just did my little Tracy Morgan impersonation, but no, I didn't like it. But all in all, if you're gonna like 6 out of 8, that's a good album. So that was on the first listen through. So then I'm going back to read, what was up with the delay? How did she handle it? How did they handle it? Why was there a delay? Everything. And that's where I start finding out that this was a mess. And it's really making me start to look a little sideways at Kanye, because Nas had the similar problem where he, was like waiting for his album. It didn't come out the day it was supposed to come out or on time. And he's sitting around waiting like everybody else for his album. That's ridiculous. I think artists should be able to hear their final project before it's put out to the masses. So apparently Teyana was awoken by a friend of hers saying, hey, your album's out. Which is bonkers. That's bonkers, right there. She didn't know that it was coming out that Saturday. I guess she knew that it wasn't coming out that Friday and thought that, okay, it's just going to come out later. But so she found out that it came out then, and then she listened to it with us. Crazy. And then when she listened to it, it wasn't her same album. Not the same album that was played at the listening party the day before. That Friday. Or Thursday, I want to say. Thursday is when she had her listening party. It was supposed to come out Friday. They knew it wasn't coming out Friday. Fine. So that Thursday, she had a listening party, and the songs weren't the same. There was samples and everything else that weren't, just taken off. And those maybe whole verses and everything. That's just crazy. Because apparently that happened with Kanye's album. He said he scrapped the whole song, the whole album or the direction of it, and I haven't heard it. So I don't know how that went, but for that to be the case with this, and I still like the album, that's saying something about her talent, but that's ridiculous to me to treat your artist that way. Like, I think that's really, really bad, especially someone who's been as loyal as Teyana's been. And don't get me wrong, this is her second album, and she hasn't been pushed like a Big Sean or the other people on Good Music. Speaking of which, designer. No, I'm not going to get off the topic. That's just a mess. That's a complete mess. That is what they have to go through. And I don't know if she likes the album, and that's bad on its own. If you don't like your own album, for it to not be the album that you heard last and that you thought you were going to put out, that's terrible. So apparently they're supposed to do a re-release this Friday. And they're going to re-release the song. I mean, not the song, the album. So this could be big right here. I'm going to get super into my music bag. I'm sorry, guys. But I believe last episode I talked about these streaming numbers and how this may be the new wave of putting out music. 7 songs, more digestible, get more replay. You can listen to the whole album through and then you play the whole album again. So you don't really feel like you need to skip a song because it's only 7 songs. Some people think that way. So I think that's part of I felt that way. Now with this, it's going to be the same stream. So they're going to re-release the album and it's going to be essentially the same thread. So the plays that they got on the previous, on this first, what's the word I'm looking for? The first incarnation of this album are going to be there. Then when they re-release it, I believe they're getting those numbers from that as well as compounded with the first one. So it's almost like as if you're, getting double the numbers. It's almost like a first week sale again because everyone that heard the first one, it's going to go, well, not everyone, but the majority of people who heard the first one is going to want to go back and hear the second version. Oh, this isn't even the version that Tiana intended to put out. I'm going to go hear what she wanted to hear. I'm not just going to live with this one. And once again, I like this first one. 6 out of 8 is good. We don't know how many. They may add songs, take some songs off. Who knows what's going to happen on the second one. So then you're going to get those streams on top of that. I don't know how I feel about this yet. I don't know what this is going to do for music. Like this whole streaming thing has changed the way music is consumed, A. And then B, it's changing how music is being put out now. Like this is like we're at the dawn of an age. Like I feel like we were that generation, or my generation was that generation where it was already that old archaic way of a long rollout. You get a 3-month rollout with your album, put out singles, yada yada yada, and that's how it's been for a while now. And now it's completely different. Like the digital age, like even when the internet became big, it was still you go out and get your physical copies of the album. This streaming thing is something completely different. And now it's changing the way that we digest and now the way that artists are putting out music and the way they're trying to get these numbers and hit these numbers. You're going to re-release the album on the same queue and you're going to keep the numbers from the first previous one? Not like it's a whole separate album now, that it's a different one? And yes, I know that Kanye did this with The Life of Pablo and said it was a living album and it was going to change and update. But that's different. Because it was a work in progress kind of thing. This was presented as a finished product, and now you're going to say, oops. I don't know, man. I don't know. That was just mine. I was shocked at that and that they were doing that. So I say all that to say this. It's supposed to be re-released. I believe they said next week, so we may get it again next Saturday, which I will be busy because I'll already be listening to Drake's album coming out on the 29th. Scorpion, I haven't heard any pushback from that. I did see something pretty funny on the internet with he dropped a trailer. It was almost like a movie cinematic trailer for this album, and of course in the comment section there's somebody who says, "Make Adonis proud." Go ahead, Drake, make Adonis proud. The internet is undefeated. But I say all that to say, I'm going to be listening to Drake, and if it delivers, well, no, I probably will. Even if I don't like it on the first list, I'm going to give it another listen. So I could say into Saturday, I will probably already still be listening to Drake, but I will definitely be making time to listen to the re-release of Tiana if it is coming out on Saturday, to make it a week from then, or if they're going to stick to re-release it on that Friday, which was supposed to be the original date. Who knows? I don't know how this re-release thing works. I don't know if there's rules to it. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. And that will end this month of music. So like I said, we had all that music come out. Pusha, Kanye came out, Kanye and Cudi. We had Nas, and I slipped my mind earlier, but we had the surprise Jay-Z and Beyonce album, which I'm still bumping. which I'm all for these Beyonce raps. Even when they leaked the reference track for, I forgot which one it is, but with the Migos on it. I'm not a Migos guy. I'm sorry. I haven't enjoyed them since Fight Night. I wasn't a fan of Bad and Bougie. I know, sue me, boo me, whatever. But I'm still bumping that, enjoying that. That's aging well. And so now we had Tiana, and then we're gonna get Drake at the end of the month. So June has been very eventful on the music scene. And speaking of the music scene, we also had the BET Awards, which I was all here for the performances. Her shut it down. I believe I talked about her before on the podcast. I'm a fan of her and her music. And she's starting to step out into the spotlight now. Now we're seeing her face. We're finding out she was previously, I'm finding out that she was previously Gabby Williams, a child singer, and she won, I love the rebrand. I love the relaunch of herself, keeping herself and her identity a secret for so long. For a while, she was dealing with an artist called Him, who was completely just redoing all her songs, and he's going to have to quit that now because she's about to be out of here. After that performance, I feel like this is it, this is where she's going to take that big step forward. So shout out to her. Who else at the BET Awards? Meek's performance was a big one. I'm warming up to Meek Mill a lot more. I fell off. I want to say the last project before the Drake beef, or the one that had the song Rico on it. That's the song that album didn't do it for me, but the one he released after the Drake beef, I thoroughly enjoyed. I think the one with 19 something flow. I love that song. That song, phenomenal. We also had A Boogie. What is wrong with me? International artist A Boogie with the hoodie. He dropped his album. That one was another slept on. The first one I feel like was slept on. This one was slept on as well. He had a lot of good songs on this. I'm a fan of Nonchalant. I love that song, Nonchalant. So he infused a little bit more. I think that was the point of it being called the international artist. He put a little bit, some dance hall feel into it. I felt a little bit more Afro pop. I don't remember what it's called. Afro something. I don't know what that genre is called. Afro beat, something like that. Don't sue me, Munch. I'm sorry. I know you love that genre. But so yeah, he infused different genres into it. So it was really, really enjoyable. And the babies are back. You gonna talk this time?
Yeah.
You gonna talk this time? Say hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Maya.
This is Amaya. Your name's Amaya. Don't already give yourself a nickname, kid.
Another day.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the podcast here. Once again, this is episode 4. Anyone who, I'm sorry, I said I was gonna work on the ums, but anyone listening, I want to thank you all for listening to the podcast right now. Go ahead, subscribe on iTunes.
Daddy.
Yeah, that's your sister. Hi, Cal. You want to say hi, Cal? Say hi. Callie, say hi. Okay, she's being fake shy. But, go ahead and say hi, baby. Okay, she doesn't want to say hi. It's okay. So go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcast apps or on YouTube. Thank you all for listening. This is the Breaking Dad podcast. Say bye-bye, babies.
Bye-bye, babies.
And I'm out.
I know where you